Okay, welcome back. And the last time we broadcasted yesterday, computer crashed right when we were finishing off, but we were able to set up a very basic chat system, well, NPC dialogue system. And today we're going to be continuing on that. So, uh, where we left off, we were saying that when the NPC finishes chat, it's going to alter that chat to something different so that when someone else goes up to him or when you go back to him, he's going to have something different to say. And I was going to use the RPCs in Photon Fun to send the message about what changes are made. Big problem with that in the way that I'm using Photon and to do this RPG game, where if I've got player one and player two, and I'm going to create two scenes in Unity. So this is scene two, scene one, and we're going to be using not RPCs, Pun to create rooms that kind of mirror the scenes. So I will say that this is going to be this is room one, and let's call this room two. And the way RPCs work is if I have player one go into a room and I send a general message out, and then player two enters the room, player two might not get it unless I set the RPC to be buffered on the server, in which case when player two comes in, he will get whatever message player one had sent out because it's held in the buffer. But in the way I'm doing things, if player one leaves this room and goes over to this room, and he does something that alters this room, for instance, the NPC, and if I have it on the buffer and player two comes over, player two gets it. However, player one, being the creator of room two, will, let's say I leave this room and I go back to this room. Room two has just been destroyed. So all the server data with those RPCs has just been destroyed. When player two gets into this room later, he's now the manager of that room, and it's a fresh new room. It's not a room that he's joining, it's a room he's created. So he won't get anything that's created in that room by player one when he was in there earlier. We're going to need some other method of saving the data in that room, and since I'm most familiar with it, I'm just going to use MySQL. It's going to save that data in two ways. It's going to save it out to SQL, and it's going to save to an RPC. That way, if player two is still in the room and player one enters the room, player two is already saved to, let's do this line differently. So player two has already saved to MySQL. When player one enters, he's going to get the MySQL data, which should be backed up by the RPC data. If player two leaves the room before player one gets in, that RPC data is gone. And when player one enters, he's just going to get from MySQL. This is basically what I'm thinking. So I've already set up my system using MySQL. So I've got a MySQL database set up already. And every time I used to look up for Unity to MySQL, if it's an online MySQL, they always wanted me, every tutorial I saw was going through using a third party, basically PHP. And so Unity sends a message to the PHP. The PHP then searches the database. It receives something. All the while, Unity is still waiting to get a message back from the PHP. Then when the PHP has the information, it sends the information back, and then Unity can continue what it was doing. That jumping between PHP, there's always a delay there. It'll never be perfect. And I've always wanted direct contact. And finally, I found on the asset store. Right, I found this on the asset store, which is UniSQL. When I used it before, the only downside I found was that it didn't work with WebGL. However, WebGL is a downside in itself, so not too fussy about that one. I'd like it if it could get fixed because sometimes some people want to play something very easy, and it's easy just to upload a WebGL. So this is what I'm going to be using, which I've already put into Unity, and it just comes in as a small folder called UniSQL. It's got a plugins, it's got a demo scene, and a scripts folder. The scripts folder only really has in read and write scripts, and this other one, I just put that up so that I can store some data. So we're now going to look and see. I'm going to look at one of the read ones, and the information that comes in on that. So here's the read, and let's pull up read. So here's read. So this is what it looks like. It takes in data and data MySQL client. It will basically just connect to your database, and then the information that it gets from the database, it's going to parse it into like this. And then, so RDR0, these are each of my pieces. And it's going to find all of the ones that match my criteria and print them all out as separate pieces. And then close the connection to the database. So I've kind of started playing with this to repurpose it for my uses. And I've created a script called load NPC data. And it's basically the exact same thing. This is kind of what it's going to look like when I run it. So in here, I'm going to run this as is. So play. And it's just going to debug to the server, and it gave me two things that I've preset in there. I've got the ID numbers. I've got scene is street. The other scene is inside. So this one is scene, street. NPC name is Bob, and the NPC dialogue is introduction. The other one is the scene's name is inside. The NPC name is Frank, and the dialogue is welcome. Frank and welcome don't exist. I put that information in there just to help me debug what happens when things don't match up. So I'm going to go to my scenes, and let's go to street, where I've created an NPC manager that holds that load NPC data. And that script looks like, so like I can get rid of that read for now. So it's basically all the same things. The only thing different is that I've added in this scene name. So it's going to get the name of the scene that I'm in. And in my select query, I'm going to select where the scene name is going to be equal to that scene name that we just got. So it should only grab Bob, since Bob is the one set up for street. Let's give it a test and see if it works. Clear that out. And I need to do the connection first. And play. A join. And I've got my information. And the only one that came in, oh, shoot. The only one that came in just now was Bob. I cleared it too quickly. I should have cleared it before I went in. All right. So that works perfectly. Now, We're going to. I also did this where because the name that comes in of the dialogue was introduction, I do have this here. Does it put it up here? Introduction, right. So I created a scriptable object called introduction, and I'm calling it by its name. I want to be able to get the string that's going to come in from the MySQL database and then find it in my asset folder. So I place all my, I've created a resources folder in which I'm going to place a folder for each NPC. That way it can find the NPC by name. It can find the correct dialogue, and it will put that into my NPC. Currently on the NPC, where is it? Here we go. So on the NPC, when you go to initiate the chat, it's going to grab the dialogue from the game manager. I want to put that dialogue directly onto the NPC. Public and SO. So hopefully that comes up. Nope. I forgot what I called it. I called it, let's see, dialogue clip SO. Yes, dialogue clip SO. And I'll call this current dialogue. And it's going to be blank by default. It's when I use the load NPC data that it's going to work. I need the player to also have the same name as, so if he's Bob, then the game object has to be Bob as well. Because I'm going to use a game object.find to find that Bob. If he's on the street, and I called him NPC, but I'm going to call him Bob. And I can go back to here, save. Okay, so when this information comes in, comment all this out for now. First thing I want to do is I want to grab the game object. Find, and I want to find RDR, and he's number 2. Why does that? Do I need to say .toString? Does that work? That works. Why? I don't know. All right, so that should grab the NPC game object. Then I will, actually I can just grab the NPC. And then once I grab that, I can say get component NPC. No. If NPCGO is not equal to null, then we can do some stuff. Then I want to find the NPC. small letters, and we can say that, yeah, thank you. That's going to get me that. And then I can just set the current dialog. That's public? Yes, it's public. So I can set current dialog, no, npc.current dialog is going to be equal to, now I need to cast this as a dialog so, dialog click so, resources dot load, and I'm going to be loading a combination of RDR, NPC's name, plus, is it forward or, I don't know. We'll see if it works. And then the RDR3 is the dialog name. Save. And let's see if this works. Fingers crossed. So I know my NPC is going to have a blank slot. So if that gets filled in, it means it works. A join loading room street. I see no errors below. Here's Bob, and it worked. So it found the game object Bob. It got its NPC. It looked in the correct folder, and it found the introduction, which means stuff. I can now use this instead of this. Save. I'll start to repurpose the write command so that once I finish that, it's going to look in the database, it's going to find Bob's entry in the database, and it will update that entry to say, we're not starting with introduction, we're starting with another one. Okay, so I move over, I get that link. Space, control. Hello, my name is Bob, and hope you have a good day. Bob switched it, so if I look here, I can see that the game manager, Bob, would have switched it to second dialog. This thing here about current dialog, we're going to be able to get rid of that if we're using MySQL to deal with this. All right. Therefore, next is going to be writing to the database. So I've got the write here. So the no, go to street, NPC manager, got the load, but I need to be able to access this NPC manager. It'd be nice to have that as a function that I can call on. What would it put out? It would put out a, where's the read? Load NPC. It should return okay, let's just create some sort of tool script. Scripts, networking. I'm going to call it SQL tools, to which I'm going to send that load NPC, most of the stuff in the load NPC into this. And let's make this static. Don't need mono behavior. And I certainly don't need you. And let's make public static. The right one. Does it return anything? Okay. I could return a true or false. All right. Let's grab. Grab this. Move it over. Public side. Let's just make it void for now. And save NPC data. And all the things that I'm going to need to pass in. I think pooling is always on. I can remove this. So at the end of this, pooling equals, just type true, which means I don't need any of that anymore. This is going to be a string. The connection, let's see. I think I'll need these. Right. I need this for the connection. Because that con is created here. Okay, that fixes that. The query is the, I haven't made the query yet. That will be up here. So let me just say string query. The command is what? This. Let's go command. That fixes that. Exception is going to be probably system. Okay. This technically should work. Save. And now should be able to call on, where is it? So the NPC, when he finished his chat, character spawner? No. It was dialogue panel, script, dialogue panel. At the end of it, we did this, where we switched it out to that. I might still want to do that, because remember I said that we're going to be using both RPC and MySQL. But now I want to find my SQL tools dot what is save MPC data. Okay. Things I want are scene name, NPC name, and lastly, string SO name. All right. Okay. Now this will take in insert into, and what do I call it? Insert into that. Please tell me I still have that open. Okay. I should write this down if I had a pen. Pencil. All right. In here, we have the scene name, the NPC name, and the NPC dialog. And the values are going to be that close plus plus reopen that comma. And I want to use, this is the name plus NPC name, SO name, remove the comma, close that bracket, remove that. Where, oh, sorry, no. I only want to update the NPC dialog, and I want to use those things. So where scene name is equal to scene name. Scene name. Put it in the wrong place. All right, I can get rid of those. Yeah, that's all wrong anyhow because I had the bracket there. So values, open bracket, open quotes, the scriptal object name, where that and the player name, NPC name, is equal to NPC name. Okay. That means that I can, this is save the NPC data, load NPC data, NPC, dialog panel. So I'm going to be passing in this. Let's just copy that. I'm passing in the scene name, comma, NPC. Do I have, I want to say, well, it's the game object. So the dialog saved my NPC. Where was it? There it is. So I'm also, oh, right. I need to add scene management. So I have that. I have NPC dot game object dot name, and lastly, I want the current change to dot name. Save. Should work once again. One of those should work scenarios. I see a problem here. Because the NPC didn't get the new information, so the okay, simple. NPC dot current dialog is going to be equal to the current dialog dot change to. Okay, so my player, the NPC will get the change and it'll be saved for someone in the future coming into the room. And this will be replaced by an RPC call as well. Let's test it and see if it works. Oops. Close that. Close that. Close that. Go to view, connection, and hit play. Don't need that anymore. join, and I can move over. I can activate. Hello, my name is Bob, and it did something. Now I know that this worked. I told you my name. I know that worked. But did it update the database? I'm seeing what looks like an error down below. Nope. Database is still using introduction. Syntax error. Check the manual. Right. What did I do wrong? So, oh, okay. Hold on. Yes, I can see where that would go wrong. Um, Something happened on the way to the market. Okay, insert that into that, plus that, plus that. That should all have been the query. So what went wrong? The query seems to start at, you have an error as a check manual that corresponds to the server version syntax there, where scene equals street and NPC equals Bob. Oh, there's, what's this? At the end, something happened with the Bob. I have that, that, and can I end it off with this? Find out. A, join. Same thing. And there is a delay as it's writing, but I think it's because of this. It should write a lot quicker than that. What? Where am I going wrong? Where scene name equals that, NPC name equals Bob. Telling me well, I'll be darned. I haven't done MySQL in about quite a few months, so let's do this where you can see it. That over, and my SQL insert. What am I getting wrong? Oh, no. I want W3 schools. Always the go-to. All right. So where that value, give me a syntax. Okay, I did that. I did all that. Go back, insert, Where? Stack Overflow. All right, insert on duplicate. No, insert that values that. Where ID equals 1. Set. No, that's update. Insert. Oh, stupid me. Right. I'm not doing an insert. I'm doing an update. Let's go back to here. Update. So let's update this. That. Set. NPC dialog. Oops. That NPC dialog equal to let's grab that and do I use a insert update set that I think it's a string, so I'm going to need that where all of that. Because the NPCs will already be there. So let's go and try this again. I can't do an insert where. I can do an update where, but I can't do an insert where. Can I? No, I can't. Right. If this works, then I can do a build and I can test it with 2 different players. A join over. Don't give me an error again. No error. But it did take a little while to do the upload. I know I can do things on a different process, which means that when I do that upload, it's because right now it paused while it was doing the upload. If I send that to a different process, it will do that on another processor, another core's process or whatever. But I'm not sure how to do that stuff yet. I did it in one just because I was following a tutorial. I'll have to look that up. That will speed up me writing. The reading seems to be fairly quick, but that write seems to take time. Okay, so if I moved away and I want to now check my database and see if that, because I see no errors, so that should have worked. It worked. So the database now shows that. I can stop. And if I play this again, as though I'm the second player coming in, I should get the second dialogue. A join. Yep, I already told you my name. that did that. Oh, okay. It didn't. It went through quickly because I told it only if there's something to change to do this, which it didn't have anything to change to. All right. I'm going to set this back to, I think it was introduction. Let's try build. Okay, we're approaching 50 minutes in. I want to cut it off at an hour. So I might start to look and see how to do a new process and stick that saving to the database on a new process. How does that work? All right, allow access. Where? And hit play on this one. And here we go. Connecting to server. This is going to be my player name is going to be build. Let build join. And and the player name is going to be Unity. And let Unity join. Here's build in my room. Unity has entered. Our funky link system works, and build is going to go to another room. The build has no idea about this happening, and he's going to talk to him. So my name is Bob. Hope you have a good day. That's updating the database, and I'm going to leave the room. Leaving the room, I should find build. There's build in this room. That deleted that room out of Unity, out of Photon Pun. So if Unity now, okay, this is, so, right, Unity did that. So if build goes back into this room, and I go up to him, I already told you my name. Bravo. So it works. Closing doesn't seem to like close that easily. I'll figure that out another time. But let us check and see. Unity C#. What do I call that? Process. run method on other process. Do say while process is running. Let's see what that says. Okay, so that looks all confusing. Process.start method. That's in .NET. Order of execution of event function. This is going to take some looking up, figure out. So I can't fit that in this video. I'll call this a good place to end it then, where what we've accomplished today is that we can save things that happen to an NPC onto the database. The next time will be that where I am setting this change, I'm going to use an RPC for this, where just in case I am coming into, if I'm coming into a room where the person already is in the room, then I should receive that RPC message and I should not grab the data from the database. Is that right? No, I grab the database when I come in. I'm going to use RPC. Oh, I know what it is. Okay, let's go to our planning. And let's get this up. All right. So here's some planning. All right. This guy, we've got our one enters the room. Get rid of that. And here's the NPC. And the NPC is the one who writes to MySQL. And the NPC also writes to an RPC. The NPC, and I'm going to do, I think it's server all, which means that the NPC is telling himself to make the change. If 2 comes into the room after that change, after that's already done that, 1 is still in the room, I'm not going to be using buffer because I don't want 2 to get that information when he comes into the room. I want him to get that information from the MySQL. But that if 2 is already in the room, 2 is already in the room, then when the NPC that is for 1 sends that RPC, the NPC for 2, this is kind of sounding weird, but if you know your RPCs and Photon Pun, you'll know what I mean. This NPC exists on 1 and he also exists on 2. The NPC for 1 sends the message. NPC for 2 receives the message saying that a change has been made. So when when 2 goes up to the NPC, 2 will be able to find that the change has already been made. If 2 wasn't in the room, 2 will get that change from the MySQL. Right, that works. And let's say there was a 3 and 3 enters the room, he'd get it from the MySQL, where 1 and 2 got that change from the RPC. Sounds weird? In my brain, it works. So let me just leave that there. So the next time, what we'll be doing, we'll be working on sending. So next time, I thought I actually created a Where is it? Today's tasks? Yeah, I created that over there at one point. So let us do a, let's put it anywhere. Let's just do today's task. Okay, next task. Update NPC via RPC. Okay. The other thing I want to do when NPC is in chat, other players can't chat with them. Okay, which that's going to come right back to this, where if number one starts talking to the NPC, then the NPC is going to send a message to himself as well as sending a MySQL message updating to say, I'm in a chat. And so if 2 goes up to the NPC that is his NPC, that NPC says, I'm in a chat, and 2 won't be able to chat with him. If 3 comes into the room, 3 gets that information from the MySQL, and then 3 walks up to the NPC, and 3 can't chat with him. Once 1 is finished with his chat, it will update the RPC, it'll update the MySQL, and the MySQL will say, I'm no longer in chat, so will the RPC, meaning 1, 2, and 3 will see the NPC as not being in a chat, and it means that somebody else can go and chat with the NPC. All right. Where does that put us in time? I'm fairly certain we are at 58 minutes, and that will be where I will end off today. Thank you for sticking around through my rambling, and I will see you next time.